You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood Redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live. Next, featuring intimate and in-depth interviews with Black Hollywood's next edition of stars and influencers. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood Redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, next.
About the commercial for this. I'll tell you when. I saw the commercial.
Save it for the air.
Yeah, save it. No
Hello. Happy Friday. Welcome to Black Hollywood Live. Next, we just learned a new word today, Chillingtons, but we'll get into that. I'm very excited.
Shout out to TJ.
I'm your host, Jessica King, also the producer of... Oh, my headphones are falling off, sorry. Also the producer of Fox's hit show, Dish Nation. Check it out. And I'm joined by comedian extraordinaire, Nick Perdue.
Hello.
Hello.
That's all the British I can do. That's it. Just hello. Take the H off it. That's it. That's all I got.
We have a very amazing special guest today who is teaching us some new vocabulary words. Please welcome Aml Ameen. Woo!
What's up?
What's up, man?
What's up?
Thanks for joining
Try
us.
Wagwan or something like that, because that's more like...
Wagwan?
Yeah, Wagwan. Or like what's going on. Those kind of ones, they're kind of more up to date, like the kids, if you want to be down with
So
the
I
kids.
can't say hello? Like is that
Yeah, you can go, hello, mate, you're right. That's one version of it, but you can do like different variations that kind of, if you go to London, they'll be like, oh my God, you know our culture, oh my God.
Wagwan?
We love you, Nick. Like, yeah, Wagwan, what's going on?
Wagwan.
It's like,
That sounds like Jamaican.
There's a Jamaican
Wagwan.
patois to it, but
Yeah.
we kind of took it a long time ago.
Wagwan.
And people actually at home would actually say to me, that's a bit dated, but I'm getting old now, so I don't really know what they're actually saying.
Or they're saying,
See?
hey, how are you? Like, that's what they're saying in England now. Just, hey, how are you?
You have to teach us a new word like every 10 minutes in
Okay.
this interview. Okay?
That's easy for me. I got
So
a bunch
I
of them.
have Wagwan
Wagwan,
and
Chillingtons.
Chillingtons. Perfect. 2 for 2.
I don't see more of them right now.
So what were you saying about the commercial?
Oh, right. So when I was looking up, Black Hollywood Live, I saw a childhood favorite thing for me which was the Nicholas brothers in the commercial, and I was like, I really liked that was there.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know about the Nicholas brothers who were around, like Stormy Weather and what else did they do? They did a lot of different things, and they're considered the greatest tap dancers of all time. And when I was young, I did a lot of renditions of their dance and stuff because I grew up in like musical theatre and went on tours doing their dance in Stormy Weather, and so that
caught your eye.
Yeah, it's a big appeal to me.
We're keeping it real here at Black Hollywood Live.
It's the little things.
Historic.
It's the little things.
The nuances.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get started. Like we said, we're going to take you way back.
Into time.
We're going to have a fun little hour with you.
Wicked.
So obviously you are British. You grew up in England and you've been acting since you were 6 years old.
Yes.
Tell us how you got started in the industry.
Well, my mum and dad kind of in entertainment. My dad was in a group in the Caribbean. He's from St. Vincent. And so he was in a group that traveled. They used to open up acts for like the Rolling Stones and stuff like that. So I have that in my blood. And when my dad eventually moved to England and he met my mum on a summer day and the wine was right and I was born later on, it's just in my blood from early. Like me and my brother and sisters would do. We grew up on a lot of old school films, and like from my mum, I grew up on films like the James Cagney, James Stewart movies, Mickey Rooney movies, all of that. And for my dad, the musical talent. So we kind of we grew up just kind of doing renditions of that all the time. And when I was 6 years old, I used to run around pretending to be Lion-O from the Thundercats. Remember Thundercats? They need to do a movie.
Thundercats, oh man.
So I used to run around doing that, and between that and Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, I ran up to my dad and mum and was like, Dad, I wanna be an actor. He's like, are you sure, son? I was like, yeah, I wanna be an actor. And so they sent me to stage school for about 10 years, where I did, different stuff, musical theatre, West End theatre, TV. Worked with Michael Jackson when I was 11, and all these different times. So I've been in it from basic conception. I know little else.
So you caught the acting bug right away?
Just the entertainment bug was in my DNA, literally. When you're 6 years old, what do you really know? So there must have been some sort of instinctual thing, and I've stuck to it, 20 years later. So it's
meant to
that's
be.
the beginning of my story.
That's cool. Now let's talk about this Michael Jackson encounter. Right, so you
Sounded
no,
a bit, you're insinuating a little bit. I love Mike, man.
But no, you were 11. So this was in '96, right? Because it was for an award show. You performed with Michael Jackson on
so
stage.
it was the Brit Awards 1996, and there was this big audition that took place before. And if you want me to tell you the story, this big audition took place, and I was one of probably about 2,000-3,000 auditionees.
Wow.
Like just there in a room, and they were just picking different people. And I remember going, God, please, if you give me this, I'll never ask you anything again. And I lied, so I've asked you. But and then I remember getting the job, and before Michael Jackson comes in, there's this guy that comes in. He's like, all right, everybody, don't look at Michael. Don't speak to Michael unless he speaks to you. Nobody look at Michael. Just don't talk to Michael. And then this door opens up. This guy comes walking in his white robe and stuff, and it's Michael Jackson within the midst of this crowd. And you can go on YouTube and actually see it. I play this kid in the Earth song, and I've got this turban on my head. And so I was stood next to Michael throughout the performance. And I remember Michael, when we was rehearsing, looking over to me, and he's like, hey, how you doing? He's got this deep voice. So let me put that on record. He didn't have this high voice. He had this deep voice.
He makes it higher.
I think so. Listen, I'm not his brother or anything, but I think somewhere along the line that was a part of his caricature. And basically, I remember him saying, "Hey, how you doing, I'm Michael?" And I'm like, I know. And then I looked at him, saying, "I'm Mel," and it was a great experience. The only thing I wish about is I wish I was older, so I could have taken it in more.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience. And then this donut called Jarvis Cocker, who's in this. Donuts one. We say donut a lot.
Donut?
Yeah, donut's a diss.
Noted.
Like, this donut called Jarvis Cocker from Pulp came on stage and made a mockery of Michael, and he had bottles thrown at him and all this stuff, and kids were getting hit with bottles, and guys in Red Indian outfits were running after him, and so yeah, that was the kind of scope of the experience of Michael Jackson at that time. And the second regret is that I didn't get hit with something and get taken to Brent Cross. Everyone in London knows what Brent Cross is. And got a PlayStation, because anyone that got hit with a bottle got hurt. Michael took them to Hamleys and Brent Cross and splashed out loads of cash on them. So I would have taken the hit for the.
Oh my gosh! You're like, I should have jumped in there.
Yeah.
I just wish
you
a bottle
pushed the kid out the way, and then you took the bottle, right?
Michael, I saved him. But yeah, that's my Michael Jackson story, and it's one that I kind of hold dear. I didn't, you don't realize how important it is there. I obviously as a child, you know who Michael Jackson is, but getting older and who he is and who he was to the world, and him passing and his legacy and his contribution to humanity and just music, a real genius. It's nice to be able to say that when I was a kid, I was rubbing shoulders with Michael Jackson in that performance sense.
Yeah, and he talked to you.
Yeah, even towards a secret handshake.
Yeah.
So it was a secret handshake.
The secret handshake?
Yeah.
Well, it's not secret anymore, right?
Well, I can't show you.
I mean,
I can't show you. That's why I've had all these blessings in my career. He's told me, keep this handshake, and it's going to be all good.
So then you just do the handshake to yourself because you can't tell anyone?
I know. There's a couple of people, about 3 or 4 people that's still living around in London.
So is that how you close meetings? You close meetings with a secret handshake, and then let's green light to the project.
It's not a handshake. It's actually like a dance thing. But I'll show you guys off air, and then you guys' career will go on to great heights.
There we go.
Okay,
it's a secret
we're
society.
gonna hold you to that.
Where? I will.
Because I need that luck to pass through me. Okay, so your first lead role was in a film called KIDULTHOOD.
Yes.
And you also had a main role on The Bill.
Yes.
So basically, KIDULTHOOD was released in 2006, and then you started your 2-year stint on The Bill as well that year.
Yeah.
Was that like a crazy year for you?
That basically we shot KIDULTHOOD. Shout out to everyone from that film. We shot that in 2004. It didn't come out, for like about a year and a half, or 2 years. And I got a role in this police drama, which is like it was a show that lasted 25 years. One of the biggest police dramas from our country, or if not the biggest, right? Like at the time. And it was a crazy time because much like in anybody's career, you don't know the timing of when things are going to happen and all of that, and that's one of those times that the stars were coming together, and you could watch me on TV on Thursdays and Wednesdays, and go and see me in the cinema at that time, and
twice a week. That's
cool.
Cool.
And for like a 20-year-old who's given his life to the business, it changed my life, in the positive sense in terms of my career, and it really kind of gave me the platform to do everything that I wanted to do, and I had a great time on the bill. And Kiddo, these are very defining roles, and back home still mean a lot to people, especially Kidulthood. That film is a cult classic. It's what Boys in the Hood and City of God and films of that nature or kids did to that period of time for those who have the kids growing up at that time. So it was it's one of the things. It's like it changed my life and my career and set me on the path to where I am now.
That's awesome. Were you happy with your role as Lewis Hardy on the bill?
I loved my roles. It's like one of my favorite roles. The reason I loved Lewis Hardy on the bill, I was allowed to be so many different things. So, when I first started, Lewis is this kind of, rebel police officer, young police officer who'd been in trouble with the law in a kind of, in a very loose sense. And he comes in with this kind of mission. You know what? I'm going to go into the police force and I'm going to change things. And, so he butts heads with this cop, Roger, who he perceives as a racist. So it went from that to like Lewis being a bit of an action hero, jumping into fires and saving old people and stuff like that, to him having like a romantic time and stuff like that, to him delivering babies and and then
so diverse.
And then towards the end of it, it was like this big undercover story where Lewis goes undercover to save his cousin, who was in trouble with the law, and Lewis's dark past and his association with crime and stuff like that, and just it was great, man. It's like one of the best times of my career. Like looking back, it was so fun, and the producers of that show really trusted me to kind of, because in England prior to that on British TV for like young black characters especially, there wasn't as much of a representation of the present time, the language, the way of being. And so the producers really, once they saw that the character was popular, they really let me have my reign and really let me, do what I did. And I'm forever thankful for that. It's a great time looking back,
A lot of the other actors from that show have made the transition to movies, and they credit the bill as being a great environment for them to learn and grow as an actor. Is that kind of how you felt? I
think like the bill, like you probably go through so many British people's IMDb's, and you'll see that, in 1983, so-and-so was in the bill, or, this person was in the bill, like, because it's a guest star show. So it's kind of like a CSI Miami or CSI or, those kind
like
of shows.
Law and Order or
more like Law and Order, actually, that kind of traditional show. So many people pass through this. So before I'd even become a regular on the show, I was in it twice, once as a victim and once as a criminal. And I came back later as the police officer. So, one of my really good friends, TJ Ramini, who lives out here, made the transition before me and was in 24 and stuff like that. He made the transition. So we always look back on the bill as, with great fondness. And I do think it's where Kidulthood, I was the lead in the film, and I got to really kind of, I got a great character to live with. But the bill, I went in it to really cut my teeth and really understand what it is to be in front of the camera every single day. And I became a much better actor just because, actors, or just like anything, you need practice. So in doing that, I became a much stronger actor, much more confident in my abilities. And you start to know your face, you know what you do, you know what you don't do. And, it becomes really interesting. And because I was on it for so long, I got the opportunity to be playful and to have something grow, Often when you do guest star characters or when you're just doing a movie and you're early on in your career, it's so intense. It's like, I've got to get this right, that you just don't free yourself up. And so I that's probably one of the jobs I've had the most fun in my career.
Did it open a lot of doors for you?
It became very popular at home in the UK, and it opened doors in the sense of, not doors here at all, that's a whole different story, but doors in the sense of, I would actually say Kidulthood opened more doors for me in England in terms of film and TV and, being seen as an actor, because with the bill, you can be typecast as a soap actor or like a serial drama actor. So the blessing and the combination of the both at the time was what really did it for me.
So now your career was doing really well in England, but you say you got a little fed up with the material that was being presented to you, especially like with your age and your demographic.
It's a combination of both, really, because when I was a kid, all I ever wanted to do is come to Hollywood and be like the people I'd watched, the people I look up to, at the time. all the different actors I looked up to, and because this is, you know, for that, this is the major leagues of, you know, Hollywood. America is the major leagues of the entertainment industry. So for that reason, when I was younger, I always had that dream. So a combination of having that dream. I remember doing an interview when I first did the bill, and they're like, "Where will you be in 4 or 5 years?" This question I probably would never have the confidence to answer anymore. I'd be a bit wiser to answer it now. But I was like, "I'm going to be in Hollywood, man. Do you know, 5 years, that's what I'm going to be." And you know, luckily I did it in 4 years. You know, I was there in 4 years. But it's one of those situations where it's in England, the roles became just. My ambition to be here was very important to me. You know, in terms of England, the roles, we're still in the defining era of our filmmaking. You know, a lot of my friends and people I've worked with are pioneers of that time. And on one side of the fence, you know, for my age bracket and that at the time, there's only a certain kind of story being told. This kind of it's, you know, once something becomes popular, so like KIDULTHOOD was very popular. And once they see they can make money from something, this genre that they previously didn't want to touch, the street genre about X, Y, Z, they now want to really, you know, just milk it until it's got no integrity anymore. And that's one of the problems I found with being back home in England. But at the same time, we do quintessentially great British dramas, you know, Luther. It just depends where you are in your career and the, you know, the opportunities you can have. And one of the things I've always done as well, I write and direct, and I've written and directed a lot of short films, and also the features that I write, I want to be able to extend upon that story. I want to be able to say, for like, if I wanted to tell a story about a group of, like I've got this short film called Drink, Drugs and KFC, which is a feature film, and it's about this young guy who's in love, and he's in love with this girl who's a popular girl, and he just takes him on that journey of trying to win her over this one night. It's got kind of like a house party vibe to it, and it's got kind of like a love story, like a 500 Days of Summer vibe to it. Now, I'm not saying that street genre or that genre is not important. It's very important to tell stories, but I'm saying, you know, the experience of humanity is so vast that, you know, when you're looking at the black story or from the black lens, it's so vast. There's so many stories to tell that I became frustrated with that. And so for me as an actor, it's better to be here. But me as a storyteller and a writer, I want to contribute to its progress and its change.
But now, you know, in the States, right, do you fear that you'll get typecasted in just doing like the black roles and this and that?
I haven't done it yet. I think in the States, it's a combination of things. In the States, I'm still defining my career here. So, you know, the shows I've done is like Harry's Law. I played a young guy who's, you know, was a drug addict that wanted to kill himself. You know, and then he becomes a kind of paralegal who wants to become a lawyer with Kathy Bates and stuff like that. Now that role is not specifically black. You know, they obviously, you know, you need in that story they writ around the culture of it. You know. But since then, I've departed onto so many different stuff, you know, from Maze Runner to the Butler. You know, my problem is not, you know, I don't have an issue being typecast. It's everyone gets typecast for a second, whether I be the person that is the, you know, the person that's, you know, the emotional actor, or, you know, the drama actor. Or I want to do comedy, you know, I want to do horror. You know, everyone gets typecast for a minute, but it's about being afforded the opportunities to break out of that, right? And for me, that's partly my responsibility, and partly whoever's, you know, on my team's responsibility to kind of look at different areas. So I'm luckily enough, I've not even done that street film here yet. Funny enough, I want to do that street film here yet because it's a different language to me, you know. So I'm coming in it from a different perspective. You know, I want to do that world, you know. But that would be like fun for me. But it's about jumping around to different things and just making sure, for me, I'm serving up what I want to do. You know?
Well, now that you are in LA permanently, you've been getting some really great roles. What is the biggest difference, or what are some of the biggest differences with acting out here in Hollywood versus acting in Europe?
It's just, there's so much stuff here, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
me and my girlfriend were talking. There's like so many TV shows here. It's ridiculous. Like there's so many TV shows. So there's a lot more opportunities. But there's no real difference. The work remains the same. Good people are good, and so that's why I think there's so many Europeans working here, because they come here from Europe, whether it be from England or different places or Australia. And they've been doing so much good work for so long that they come here and they're able to capitalize and have their moment, So the work is no different. It's just a bigger stage, and show and business, like show is the small part, and there's a lot of business and a lot of politics behind the scenes of anything you're doing. There's so much, you have to become a lot more business savvy here.
Yeah.
A lot more business savvy and a lot more, understanding the positions and things, and understanding TV here is really, like network TV is really sold on advertisement, or understanding what your foreign sale worth is worth if you're in a movie. Like all of that stuff, I've had a real big education on that, but in part because I'm a filmmaker, but also as an actor, just really trying to understand the scope here. So I think that's the main difference. The business is bigger, and it's a lot more, there's a lot more politics and things you have to understand. But I think it's a thing that if you let it, the quality that I have, being from another place, could really be messed up by the business. So you've got to keep that balance of making it about the work,
Yeah.
Well, you had mentioned that 5 years ago you were asked what you would be doing, and you said you wanted to go to LA. It's always been a dream for you. Now that you're here, is it everything that you've dreamed of?
No. To be honest, it's not everything I dreamed of. I love Los Angeles for the opportunities in my career. I love Americans in this place, because you can walk into any room here, and for at least a moment, you can really sell yourself on like who you want to be, what you want to achieve. Like that is what I really grab onto when it comes to Hollywood version of America. They will listen for a moment. That moment will go.
It's very quick.
Yeah.
And you've got to, you could provide the goods, but they'll listen. Whereas back home, it's a lot more of a system. You can't just spit like conversation to people and that win people around. We have a different culture, a different way of being. We're a lot more of a, if you go to one of the old school drama schools and stuff like that, that's respected. Our thing comes from a lot of respect. If you look at our TV in England, we have people that look like everybody. Whereas a lot of TV shows here have pretty people. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just the emphasis is in different places. Here, the emphasis back home, the emphasis is a lot on the quality of actor, where you come from originally, like in terms of your training as an actor. And here, it's about a lot more other things.
What have been some of the letdowns for you?
Letdowns being here, just all in the game. It's just all in the game. You can really want something or think you deserve something, and someone who's probably just as deserving, or maybe not as deserving, who knows, will get something because of their name cachet. But that's where they are in their career, I stopped looking at it as a letdown the second that it happened, and look at it more as an opportunity and a challenge for me to kind of turn it around, Otherwise, that's it. What's the point? You have to, you have to build yourself up in a way, and that's pretty much the letdown per se, if you want to say that. But that's the business.
Yeah.
That's the business. That's what it is, and you have to build yourself up, and eventually, people will value your work if you are good. Eventually, the work is what's going to live, and that's so important. All the great actors I've ever worked with, when I've had conversations with them, from Kathy Bates to Forest Whitaker, have all said to me, keep it about the work, and you'll have longevity. Look at them,
Yeah.
longevity, and people that are respected, and not necessarily, the model look or the flash of the moment. These are people that are good actors and good artists, and really deep as well. Like really good actors are really deep. They actually believe in more than just it being about attention, fame, and becoming known. Once you really get into what this thing is about, it's about humanity and kind of changing the consciousness of people, and how much TV and film and entertainment and media has the effect on people's minds. You want to really kind of take some sort of responsibility for that, as much as you can. So me as an actor, the way I take responsibility is only doing things that appeal to my heart and having integrity in that way, And hopefully as a filmmaker, we have a lot more of a voice. When I start doing more, becoming more of a filmmaker, I will, really push that as well. So that's the balance I'm trying to keep right now.
It's a great perspective.
Yeah, it's strong. That's, Jesus.
Deep.
Yeah. So you've had some fairly steady work, since you've been out here. Have you had any struggles? Like, was there any downtime where you're like, okay, I need to land something, or I got to move back, or?
No, I've never thought about moving back ever.
Ever? Wow.
No, not in the sense of I can't achieve what I need to achieve here. When you're here long enough and you scope the talent pool and all of that, after a certain amount of time, your confidence grows. And I'm like, do you know what? I know who everybody's here. A lot of my friends are doing extremely well as well. So it's like, I look at all of that and I'm like, I can do it. I can really do it. And it may not be the moment when I want it to happen. But yeah, so I've not had a really big letdowns. We're actually on Harry's Law. We did the first season of Harry's Law, and in the second season, they needed to change the show. And so me and Brittany Snow weren't going to reprise our characters, and that was something for me to take. And I was like, wow, damn. Yeah. But I can't stay down for longer than a couple of days about something. It's just not in my nature to. I have to get up. I have to do something. So that's what I did. Literally, when that happened and that year happened, I literally went and made a short film at home about it and stuff like that. About that time or about my year. And so those bits TV, network TV is harsh.
Yeah.
And when my journey here was I got put on tape for another show. I came here, I did the test, which I'd never done a studio test before. I never knew what that was. So I was just walking to it like an audition where other people are do you know what I mean? They're looking at the money and how it can change their lives and all that stuff. I'm looking at it as an audition. So passed the studio test, didn't pass the network test, someone else got it. And that moment was that moment of disappointment where it was like, okay, what am I going to do? And literally 13 days later, I got cast in Harry's Law in a better role with a greater team and a great, something that lasted, and had that experience where I got to work with David E. Kelley and Bill D'Elia and, he's the producer of it, and Kathy Bates, and made some really good, strong connections. And so then that happened, and then, then the season was coming back, and then boom, it didn't happen. So that was another blow. And the more blows you get, and the more you get up, and you got that, you get stronger, So that happened, and then I came back for season 2 for a couple of episodes, and so those are the first couple blows that really got me. I'm sure there'll be one or two more blows, but I've learned how to dodge a little bit, Got my combination a lot.
What has been the hardest thing you had to adjust to living out here now?
In LA, not being in London, because in my opinion, London's one of the greatest cities in the world. And leaving London and coming here, I realized that. Now the reason I feel like that, I loved LA for the first 2 years, but what I really miss about the UK or London specifically is the vibe, man. There's just such a vibe, and the transportation system is a huge thing in the UK. So you're constantly bumping into people in the UK. Where here you have to really make dates to see people. It's like it makes it a bit more difficult.
Make an effort.
And this city is also really it's really surrounded by the industry, and you realize as an artist you have to really be a good artist. In my opinion, you have to be able to step outside of the world of the business and always talking about acting or talking about whatever you do as an artist, and actually experience real life and different people, and these experiences inform you and inform the passion that makes you want to do something. So it is more difficult in a sense remaining an artist. I believe loads of people have gone through this that are artists in this that have been here, and then you find your home here, hopefully. So that's been my biggest challenge about moving to Los Angeles, just not being able, and missing family. I've got a big ass family, so it's a very important part of my life.
So what was your biggest fear, headed over here? If you're afraid at all.
I didn't have a fear, to be honest.
Wow.
I didn't.
That's awesome.
There was no, it's just, I definitely didn't have a fear coming over here because, part of me, when you know something, when you're that passionate about something, extremely, and you've wanted it for so long, fear any ounce of fear just gets lopsided.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? When you're that convicted, Bill D'Elia from Harry's Law once said to me, he said, you know, to actually, this business is meant for you, or whatever you're doing in your life is meant for you, if you can suffer the rejection of doing it. You know, if you can really suffer the rejection of going after whatever you're going for, then you know it's for you. When you can walk into a room, any of us, and we're going for a job or we're presenting an idea and we're like, do you know what? And they go, no, we're going with this person. And in your head, you're like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're actually wrong, but fine. But you're wrong. Then where's fear? There's no fear. Obviously, I have fears in my life about other stuff and all the rest of it, but when it came to coming over here, there was no real fear. You know, making it is, anybody out there, that whole making it thing is bull. Like, it's like, you make it and then the goalpost moves. You make it, it's moments. You know, you're having different moments in your life that become important to you. Like, when I first came to LA, I just wanted to, I just want to book a job, I want to do this, you know, and then the dream becomes closer and closer, and then, you know, and I suppose as you achieve more things, like, look all these great people that achieve things in their life, like ultimate success and stuff like that. To really fulfill their happiness, more stuff needs to come, and it's not necessarily from the pool of which they thought their dreams were going to come from in the first place. Like being, you know, successful, and that, you know, they want meaning to their life. And so my fear does not come from what success I'll have in this industry and all of that, because that's a process. It's something that happens and then dies and happens and dies. You know, my fear is probably about always making sure that I can keep my integrity within it and attach something that's very important to me to it. You know, something I'm very passionate about. When I read the Butler script, I was just passionate about it. It's like, you know, passion. I want it. And obviously you fear not getting the job to a degree, or you have that nervousness feeling that you get over in a minute, but you're passionate about it. That's the only thing that matters, you know, to me.
It's very impressive. So you obviously have a very nice British accent. Did I say that good?
Do that again?
British.
It's a start. Sorry, guys.
I'm working on it.
British.
But you've also
British.
You
That's
don't
better.
say the T. British. Do you?
I say I've got broken British language. It depends who I'm speaking to.
Okay,
you know,
so
it's like going for a job. Like anybody, you know, you go for a job. You got your things. You talk with your boys. You're like, "What's going on, bruv? You cool? Yeah, what's going on? I haven't seen you in time, man. You cool? Everything's blessed, you know. Bruv, that's the one. They're right there, bruv.
Bruv. I'm gonna recite all of these to you at the end.
Anybody, you guys tweet me with different words in England because I've lost them. Bruv is a good. Bruv is a good one. Yeah.
Okay, so I need a harder T. British.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends how you want to talk.
There you go. I'm gonna be a master at this by the end. But you've also mastered the American accent as well. Are there certain words in the American accent that you struggle with?
I think there's a few, but I couldn't name them. Like you go to do it, and it's like, you know. I remember when I first did Harry's Law, like my throat hurt after a while, man, because I was doing Malcolm, and you know, Malcolm's accent changed over time. So he had this more street accent before, and then he became, you know, when you hang around different people and you're trying to fit in, it changes. So a lot of my accent was like in the back of my throat, like that. And so, you know, in England, we speak Londoners, again, sorry, I always think England, but it's Londoners. We speak more in the front of our face, a bit like more New Yorkers. Like, they talk, like, right up in the front of their face. Like, and me, I talk in the front of my face. So doing that kind of a little bit more in the back of my throat was a bit challenging. But now I don't even think about it. My first episode, when we did shot the pilot, I stayed American throughout the whole thing. I was like one of those actors. Like, I spoke to Kathy in American.
Character.
Like, no, everyone, and then when we came to season, everyone goes, "Oh, you're British," you know. So I did that whole thing, you know, for the first pilot, but then I just dropped it.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Give me your American accent. Give me a sentence. Tell me like where you were born and where you grew up.
What? See, that's what I'm saying. Which one?
What do you mean?
What American accent is like? There's like
California.
I was born. My thing is like west, east, and then the south, and that's
okay. Give me your New York accent.
New York. I'm not doing New York yet. Like New York is like I don't want any New Yorkers
Come on,
like
son.
yo son, like what the. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, but the accent I'm most comfortable is kind of like an East Coast kind of flavor. Like you talk more like that, and you got to warm up into it. So after a while, you be talking like that with your boy.
Who is it? I had like
you
the
heard
guys.
somebody?
Yeah, it's and I'll think about it.
You'll think about it.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Okay, give it to me in patois.
Patois. What you want me to say? I mean, my father was born in St. Vincent. My
I
mother is
love
from
it.
Jamaican descent.
You sound like
still.
my family.
Yeah. But everything is a warm up. So anybody that's tweeting going, that's not right, yeah, it was all right, just calm down, you know. We warm it up.
Okay, here's a tough one. Give me your Texan accent.
Texan. Do you know the things that come out of my head when I've got to do that? It's so like I don't think you guys are like a PG thing, right?
No, if
Just say
you want to cuss, you can go ahead and cut. We're on the internet. You can't kick off the internet. We're on the internet.
I don't know, like I don't want to do it. I don't diss anyone.
He put his hand
That's
It was, go
Yeah,
ahead
I'm
and
just
say-
chilling here on the
Word.
bar.
it's so prejudiced, isn't it? Like, because if it, you know, it's like when someone just did my London accent, you feel a bit like, shut up, that's not how it's done, you know. So if I do string, I don't know. I can't do a Texan accent. I don't even know how they speak.
What are your, like, you said you're most comfortable with East Coast.
Do you know what
some...
you find with different characters? You find their voice, you know. So there's just different voices, you know. It's really, I don't know. It's fun to do it, but it's like really and truly you try and find the voice of the person. You try and be as regional as possible, you know, and then you can just do general ones.
Yeah.
So most of the people I've found, because I've got a deep resonance to my voice, I've mostly done, you know, when I did Malcolm, for some reason I started talking more like up there, and it was annoying me listening to it. So eventually I dropped it back to my voice and talking more like there.
Yeah.
So it just depends who the person is and their style and stuff like that. But
You think
So-
you'll ever lose your British accent though? Like if you
apparently, according to the lady over there, apparently I have words that I'm starting to mess around with, but I don't think so. I've been here for 3.5 years almost. So, but to British people, they'd be like. Actually, my uncle, who's very, you know, my uncle Kirk, who just loves to chastise, he's like, Amel, you haven't lost your accent, no, man. That's cool. That's good, man. That's good. I was like, Uncle, what do you expect? He's like, that's good, man. I want to hear you talk American. I'll let me like them Yankee there. And I was like, all right, that's fine. But I'll say certain words like, I got to take the trash out or something like that. You know, after a while, where
As
you're
opposed
from,
to...
the rubbish.
Oh,
the rubbish.
rubbish.
Take the rubbish out.
I was like, trash is a normal word.
No, it's like
I'm so
rubbish where we're
confused.
from.
So, well, you know, it's very common for non-American actors and actresses to lose their accents for certain roles and things like that. And I was actually, just last night, was watching Rebel Wilson's new show, Super Fun Night, and it was kind of sad to notice that she lost her Australian accent for the show, which, you
What,
know...
she playing America?
Yeah, she is using her American accent. It's a show on ABC, I think. And I've been watching her for the past couple of years from Bridesmaids and Pitch Perfect and everything. I've learned to love her.
Is she from Australia?
Yeah.
I thought she was from England.
No, she's Australian, I believe. But like, does it ever feel? Is this like a requirement when you take roles on? Do you have to lose your accent, or is it something that?
I mean, mostly you're going up. You know, the British voice, so to speak, is not really. The British culture is not really prevalent here. If we're talking about a black British man, that's not really prevalent here. So I don't really see many. You know, if they're going to put a British person in, it's usually going to be what their, you know, their the archetype of their idea and the archetype of what they think it is. There's been times in auditions and stuff where they've, you know, I'm doing my American accent and I leave and I go, and I do this on purpose sometimes as well. Like, so I do my American accent, I can do that. I'm like, all right, cheers, mate. See you later, guys. All right, cheers. See you later, mate. You know, to make sure they know I'm English on the way out.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you're British? Oh my, can you come back and do it in your accent? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Which could work for and against you, to be honest. But yeah, it's a requirement for every role that I've done. There's only one role recently, Blackbird, by Gina Prince Bythewood, where I thought maybe do it British, but you know, I think we're growing in like people's awareness. So like someone like Idris Elba, I think he's known for being British, obviously, but he was British in The Takers.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all I've seen, you know. And that's one of my dreams, and I want to contribute is that to be able to play British within the realms of the story, but it's got to make sense, I suppose, you know.
That's true.
You know.
It's kind of ironic because, you know, you always hear Americans saying how much they love accents, you know, whether it's the British accent or Australian or whatnot. Does it seem like, you know, for a lot of actors in Britain, does it seem like the American accent sounds more appealing, or?
We've grown up with it so much that it's not even something that is a surprise to us. You know, I grew up watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or The Cosbys and stuff like that. You know, I grew up watching, you know, all sorts of American films, like, as a kid. So your culture is pushed, you know, your way of life and culture, and that's pushed so well that, trust me, I don't think you're going to surprise any British people. None. You know, we know the BT shows. We grew up watching all that stuff. We know the you know, the shows and the Kardashians, and all. We know all of the stuff that, so that it's an you know, when people say, oh, how do you do the accent and stuff like that, it's an unfair advantage because we're fed your culture so much. So when Americans can't do the British accent, it's not a fair assessment because you're not fed. We're not in your consciousness as much.
Yeah.
You know, but you're in the world's consciousness, so it's different.
So do you learn a lot of it from TV or listening to other people, or do you take dialect classes and
I've never
coaches
done
and
a dialect class. The only one I kind of did it for was when I did the Butler, and I wanted to get the voice, like Forrest's voice, to be honest, more than it being an accent. I wanted to kind of do that. It was more about me and him speaking together sometimes, and also just using the same coach he did. But that's more about a voice. But a lot of it's come from, I did an American accent before I came, and my American accent was like good, you know. But you've got to be around them. Like, a lot of my boys and my best friends here, like, they're American, so you get a real sense of their vibe. It's more than just an accent, because, you know, as a culture, I present myself in a certain way and all of that. But as, you know, as an American man, when I'm playing an American person from wherever they're from, you've got to get in the sense of their energy and their feel, their fibers, their molecules and all that. So that's what I've done and been able to pick that up. So I can speak shorthand with my boys, you know, so, you know, or when they say, my girls here, like, oh, Mel, you sound a lot more British now, man. Like, it's that kind of thing, like, you know. So it's different.
There you go. Don't go too shorthand. Like, don't start saying LOL and OMG. Don't do all that.
Who does that?
There's plenty of Americans.
What do I do?
He's calling you out.
Just got called out. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Ovi, but that's English. Ovi. Ovi, that's an English one.
We say
FYI. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's
not bad.
Acceptable.
Yeah, FYI.
Did you say BT dubs?
For you. Okay,
What's
see
that?
No, see.
What's a BT dub?
BTW.
Don't even worry about it.
By the way.
Don't worry about it. Just don't even put it.
Really?
See, because now he's gonna start saying it.
I'd say.
You know,
Nah, man, I can't do
there's
that.
gonna be an argument.
See,
He's
there's a
going,
word for
BTW.
you. Now I'm teaching you words.
Yeah, BT dubs. What a Dan. That's a good one as well. Dan, I use that all the time.
Terrible.
I love it.
So you landed your role in Harry's Law, and you did it without having to do a test.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I mean, did you know like how interesting that was? That doesn't really happen.
Yeah, they told me, like, basically I was I don't know how much I'm meant to say, but like basically it was like a pit between two shows. I did a test for one show, and David Kelley is so, you know, he's powerful that he was like, I want him, no test, boom. I think I was even cast before Kathy decided to accept the role, you know. So
Oh, wow.
so it was like, you know, he met me and he's like, that's Malcolm, boom, you know. And a lot of that's thanks to the casting director as well, Ken Miller, who like was like, when he met me, he was like, my audition was okay, and then we worked on it, and then he's like, boom, you know. So that was the process of that, and I didn't realize how much of a big deal it was, but trust me, it was to get that. Like, it was. I remember I even wrote blogs about it, man. It was like, that was a moment for me in my life. Like, that's a big moment for me in my life. It's like, just imagine dreaming about something all your life, and you know you've got the passion for it, but you know, will it come true? Will you do it? And everybody's telling you the odds as well. Everyone's saying to you, look, you know, you got tested in your first year. That's incredible, you know. And me, I'm thinking to myself, what? I just, you know, I want to get the job. 'Cause you don't know the insides and outsides of the business so much here. I didn't know it. So me being unaware was really helpful in a sense. And it's like, you know, when I got it, it was that moment, man. That moment. I think I was driving around with whose album was driving. I was driving around J. Cole's album at the time. It's one of his mixtapes. I listened to Dollar in a Dream and, you know, all of that stuff. That's my year here.
You was really in it.
Like
Yeah, I was in it. Like,
Yeah.
But
Now, because I heard that you made an audition tape in your mother's kitchen.
Yeah. Me and my
Right.
brother Mikhail did that, who's very good. Like, if he ever steps into the game, I've got a problem.
Was it like with the handhelds, or like would you?
Yeah,
guys
it was
do
just in the kitchen. It was in the kitchen, and you know, he's got a very good American accent, and he's funny, he's charismatic. He's a music artist actually.
Okay.
And he's coming over soon, so maybe you guys should interview him. But it was fun. Yeah, we did that, sent it off, and then literally the day later, it's like you're flying here, and it's like
That's
you
crazy.
fly here, and there's a limousine, and you go to a hotel, and you're like, boom, 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 boom. You focus, focus, focus. You do the audition,
Wow.
don't hear back. You go for the test, hear back, doesn't happen. But you know what happened? As soon as I didn't get that other job, it was a blessing me finding this out. Like, they just did this. Like, sweet. All right, you've got to leave the country. You've got to, the hotel's gone, the limousine's gone, get your own cab home. Well, not that, but like, it was just kind of like swept from under your feet
Yeah.
before I got Harry's Law for
Yeah.
the one I came for. And my manager and my family just encouraged me to stay, and it was a blessing. Got lucky or whatever, something.
Blessing in disguise.
That's good. And so let's talk about Red Tails, because there was a lot of talk in Hollywood for years, trying to get this movie made, and Hollywood didn't want to do it because they felt it was too much of a risk, or whatever the case was. And so George Lucas finally stepped up and put a lot of his money into this film. So how important was it for you to be a part of this film?
Well, Red Tails was when I was living in England, and what happens is, and we don't really know this back home, but a lot of the times they cast a lot of the main roles. So I was going for one of the main roles, and but they cast them because Tristan has more name value. Plus he's really good, and they cast the roles. And so by the time it gets to England, at that time anyway, I think things are changing. But by the time it gets to England, it's like you don't have an opportunity to go for those roles. But I just wanted to be in the film so much because it represented my opportunity to work finally in Hollywood, and say I was in a film like that. And when I read Red Tails, it was an impressive movie, and the cast that was attached to it was impressive. So it was weird because it was a British job I got. Well, it was an American job I got, but while I was in Britain, so the experience was shot in Prague and all of that stuff. So it was a great experience, but I'm not as connected to the experiences, other experiences, because of my involvement. It was very minimal, So, but it did great. It was an important movie for the Americans in general, and a piece of history. And I'm glad those movies have been told in whatever they could be.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned it a couple times throughout this interview, so it's obviously a very passionate film for you, but you had the amazing opportunity to be a part of Lee Daniels, the Butler. What was that experience like for you, working with Lee Daniels, Forest Whitaker, Oprah Winfrey? Tell us a little bit about what it was like to work with them and your experience overall.
I mean, that was like, that's a script. When I read it, I was like, please, I must be a part of this, please. And I went through the audition, and didn't get the job straight away, and almost didn't get the job initially because of they had it was stretched out. The younger character was meant to be stretched out, but Forrest jumped in a lot quicker. But working with Lee literally made me a much better actor. It was an incredible experience. He's tough on you. He knows what he wants, but once he knows you're there to work in the premise of his vision, it's you find such a kind of warm, generous person, and someone that has changed my acting for the better. I remember there's a moment when I was working with Clarence Williams III, and he was rehearsing the scene, and he's doing his stuff, and I'm doing my stuff, and I was like, I could even hear him. I could even hear Clarence, right? And then when I looked back at the rehearsal take, and I looked at it, I was like, this guy's truth is amazing, and so Lee pulled me aside and he was like talking to me about how trying to finesse that truth and just trusting your instincts, knowing that I've worked on who this person is and I know who this person is, and just to let it live within the space of the film and the celluloid, just let it live in the scene. Don't push too much, we got 1,000, all of us got 1,000 thoughts going through our heads right now, whatever they are, and they happen and they go and they happen and they go. And he just showed me really how to kind of finesse and really put like a quiet performance, and that was stamped by watching the film, looking at Forrest's performance. It's like, this is a masterful take on this person's life. Masterful. It is a lesson in how to really just exist, and I think Lee did his best to kind of give that to me as a lesson. So it's one of them life-changing ones, and it's also, for me, it's that film, it's like, I'm part of history forever.
Yeah.
That's a forever film,
Yeah.
Did you guys always know, like, on set, how powerful this would become?
I think so. I think so. Not, I mean, not necessarily. Yeah, I don't know about success of how films are going to do and stuff like that, but you know, you knew you were telling a very important story, and you knew by just the people that decided to lend their time to the film for almost nothing, like, you know, all the different people who with extreme excellent credentials, actors lending their time and putting, they just knew the story was important, and I think it's definitely it's lived to see. It's one of them great moments when a great film does fantastic, and so I think it's just amazing, and I'm very happy to be a part of that experience. I would love to work with Lee again because he's, as a director, he's the truth.
It's amazing, yeah.
He is, like, you know.
And then, did you learn anything just watching him as a director that helps you with your directing as well?
Definitely. A lot of it is do the work, and just find the truth. What's the truth? Through so much, like, in the moments he throws things away if he doesn't, because you know my words are guides. What's the truth? Speak to him. What would you say? No. Speak to him. What would you say? You know, just trying to, you know, and you see that by the films he's done. So it's just like, definitely as a director, I will not be as he goes with the moment and the feeling. You know, he's very in tune with that. And so as a director, as I continue to do what I want to do, I'm definitely not going to be rigid in my ideas of things. You know, just put aside what you think it should be and find out what it could be. You know.
Yeah, let's work it out.
Yeah.
So let's talk Special Delivery really quick, okay? Because that stars Kamara Bacchus. Okay, and she was also in the Pickup. Now, is it true that this movie was shot entirely in one day?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So it was just a real quick. Was it easier to shoot it since there wasn't any dialogue in the film?
Yeah, with all of my films, I've done Pickup, Special Delivery, Drink, Drugs, and KFC. All of these films, they've been on a budget of like about £1,000 to £2,000, and they've been literally a 1 or 2 day shoot, and so that's what all of my stuff has been, because we've got a very tight, it's a very tight, you know, period of time that we can actually shoot this stuff in, and people are lending their time and for free. Yeah. So it was definitely, it was shot in one day. That one particularly, the Pickup, which is a bigger one. We shot that in 2 days. Drink, Drugs, and KFC, which is like one of my favorite ones, is one that we want to make into a feature film. That was shot in 2 days as well. And that's got a huge cast, and we travel over London, you know, and even stuff like 12, that was 2 days. So my thing is, I look forward to seeing what I can do with a proper budget on a film where I've got more time and stuff like that, and just really kind of lift that project.
And then with Drinks, Drugs, and KFC, you wrote that script when you were, what, 17 years old?
I wrote Drink, Drugs, and KFC when I was 17 years old, and it's basically about my time. Like, I was literally like kind of like the Nathan kid when I was 16, 17 years old, you know what I mean? Just like that kid that, you know, just out there. I went to private school, and so a lot of my friends didn't go to private school, so they had a more of an urban type experience and stuff like that. And so, you know, that was me kind of watching their life and watching their life unfold and stuff like that, and just being so fascinated by how they dealt with, you know, romance, or, you know, or in fact, I was romantic, they weren't romantic. How they dealt with just like, you know, this girl, that girl, or, you know, going to this rave, or like literally a lot of the stories in Drink, Drugs, and KFC are quite true. Like there's one time someone stole a ticket from a woman that was a girl that was in a line, in a queue before we go into a club, and so we weren't getting into the club. And so the guy whose Max is based on was like, all right, cool. Everybody changed clothes, you know, and it was like it was a big rave or a big night. Everyone changed clothes, and boom. So, and we got in, and so it's like an adventure story. And to me, stuff like that is like a big, you know, I want to tell those coming of age adventure kind of stories.
You've mentioned Idris Elba earlier today, and you've also talked about him a little bit in past interviews that you've done. Is he kind of like a role model for Black actors in England? Oh, massively. You know, Idris was you know, once people found out who Idris was, and, you know, I met him a couple of times, and you kind of really, he's the one that kind of put us on the map in terms of that, you know. He's for all intents and purposes, there's a lot of great actors, but, you know, he's a movie star, you know, he's a sex symbol, he's very talented, he's
he's off the cuff, so he doesn't do things you expect him to do. You know, he didn't carry on with the Daddy's Girls, or he didn't carry on with The Wire, or he didn't carry. You can't really pitch him anywhere. So I really respect that about him, and I like that quality in him as an actor. And you know, he's great. If you've seen Luther, you know, me and Portia, we flipping love Luther, and it was just like we got into Luther while we've been out here, and you know, he's great, man. He's an actor's actor. He's like one of them old school actors, you know. So nothing but respect, and I think everybody at home who's an actor, forget black, just an actor. You know, you respect him, and you know, I hope that I could even work with him one day. That'd be great, you know.
Well, Britain has, in general, has definitely made its mark in Hollywood. Not only Idris, but you have Jude Law, Daniel Craig, Keira Knightley, just so many people from Europe. How does the success of these English actors motivate you to succeed as an actor?
I have my own dream, you know, so everything serves of inspiration. You kind of look for inspiration in different things. And you know, my dream goes even beyond acting, and it goes really to, like, you know, just like people that have really affected the world in a great way, and how I can live more in those shoes, to be honest. So wherever I draw inspiration from wherever I can get, you know, and you know, actors or some of it, but you know, there's just different types of people and people in my real life as well that kind of, you know, inform art. That's kind of what I'm really on. Like, how can I be a good artist, and how can I tell great stories? That's my thing.
Okay, so you also founded Actors Student Alliance, which is in London, right? And so, like, what made you?
You know this stuff.
we dug a lot of research on this. Is, you know, to make sure I got it. And so, but what made you, you know, want to start this this alliance, really?
Well, what's the original story of that? The original story, it was. Let me cut it short. Actors Student Alliance. Basically, I wanted to, you know, I had a lot of downtime. I was finished the bill. I was doing different films and stuff like that. I had a lot of downtime, and one of the things I wanted to do is kind of, you know, a lot of young people in the UK always would come up to me and say, you know, how can I do this, or how can I be an actor, and how can I do this? And what I've come to learn is they're really asking me, how can I pursue my dream? If they know who I am and what I represent, it's like, you know, how can I pursue my path? How can I find what I'm doing? So, you know, the way in which I did that kind of was to start this kind of weekend drama workshop. And I started it, and it kind of really grew, and it kind of, we did well for a time. It was on for like 2 years. And but I moved over here, and it became harder to maintain. And so it went to bed. But Actors Student Alliance it was a really great group of young actors or young people that wanted to get into the business, and a lot of them are doing pretty well right now as well. And
then, because I heard that you casted a few of them that were in the alliance in a couple of your short films that you did,
like
right?
A lot of them were in Drink, Drugs, and KFC. There's a lot of unknown actors in that, and they're in that, and yeah.
Okay. And with what was it? For The Pickup, right? We know that you wrote, directed, and produced the film, as well as starred in it. So was it challenging wearing all those hats?
That's the first short film I ever did. So when I did The Pickup, it was literally the DP that I worked with was also a director. So he kind of helped me a lot in that respect. And it was just a very challenging thing, trying to manage about 70 to 100 extras in the club, and you're playing the music. You're meant to play the music. Like, club scene is very difficult to do because there's no music on, really. Everybody's doing their lines, and everyone's having to do all of that stuff. So, you know, that was very challenging at first. But by the time I've come around to doing like the next one I've done, which is really all me, it's like a three-hander, was a short film called Hoorah that's going into a festival, and it's about a guy that suffers from post-traumatic stress, and he was in the war, and he comes home and he finds his best friend and his wife murdered. And so I lead in that, and I directed that and wrote that. I like that. I like the feeling of it, of actually
the Tyler Perry feeling.
No. Never that. But just the feeling of just, you know, when you're an actor, I would only do that if I'm doing a genre that I'm comfortable with, you know. So if I'm doing genres that I've really worked in and stuff like that, if I had to do like a sci-fi, I'd back away a bit. But, you know, And also sometimes it's about resources. Sometimes you can't get people to be in the projects because you haven't got a lot of money and all of that. So you're pulling from resources of people that you know. I know me pretty well, so I was in it.
Yeah. All right.
So you know, we've discussed a lot of the different actors that you've worked with throughout your career, and you've worked with some heavy hitters. You got Kathy Bates, Forest Whitaker, George Lucas, so many admirable people in this industry. What is the single best, just one piece of advice that you've received from any of them that has really inspired you through your career?
The thing that's kind of kept me like level-headed and just is just make it about the work. I remember Kathy saying that to me, and you know, if you make it about the work, that's what's going to make you live through all the bullshit. So you know, make it about the work, make it about the art, make it about that stuff, and kind of carry on with that in that vein. So hopefully, you know, that's some of the best advice I've received from actors.
Yeah.
You know.
Now we're gonna have to put a TV 14 up before we air this.
Really?
I'm just kidding.
So
I'm kidding.
Beat me.
you have a background in dancing and singing and
Yeah.
such, and so I mean, are you looking to get back into that? Or are we gonna see?
I'm so rusty that it would have to be someone that goes, you know what, you're doing well in your acting, whatever, and we want you to be in this. I would do a tap dance film of some sort, because I miss tap dancing so much. It was such a part of my growing up. In fact, everyone at school actually thought I was going to be a dancer, and I didn't want to do that. So, but I would love to incorporate in the future in some way, you know. Yeah, but
Maybe you and Harrison Knight can do something, because he tap dances too. He said he wanted to do a tap dance movie.
who's that?
Harrison Knight, he's a young actor out here. And
I don't know him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and plus you're gonna show us that secret dance move after this.
Exactly.
So we're gonna.
you know,
But it will
help
never
you
be
brush
aired.
up. Okay, so we always like to end our interviews with a fun game on a light note, test your knowledge. So we came up with a game to test how well you know your American TV shows that originated from some sort of British version.
Oh, right.
Okay, so we'll give you
No help from your girlfriend either.
Come on, P.
We'll give you a description of the show, and you'll guess the show, and you'll get an extra point if you could also guess what the name of the show is that it originated from.
All right. So, okay. Cool.
Okay?
Yeah, I think I got that.
This show is about 6 people who are friendly and living and figuring out life in New York City.
Friends.
What's the original show?
They had an original show to that?
Yes.
Grain Chill? I don't know.
Okay, well, you get the point, but you don't get the extra point.
Who?
It was Coupling.
That was an English show.
Yeah.
Thieves in the night. They didn't make
These
as
are
much
all
money.
shows that came from an idea off of a British show.
Really?
Whether it was a direct spin-off or it was, you know, kind of a copycat.
I am shocked. Aren't you?
If you think about it, like, that show was exactly the same premise. You had 6 friends,
Yeah.
3 girls, 3 boys.
It says England, we've got great content. Just
You do.
sell it over here. Make a life.
The next one?
Yeah.
All right. It's a mockumentary that documents the exploits of a paper supply company in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
In England?
No, this is
Office.
in
The
America.
Office.
There you go.
Okay. Originate from The Office. Did I get 2 points?
Okay, in this show, look at you trying to give yourself more points.
2 points.
A hipster interviews a variety of guests from the world of crime prevention, drug enforcement, and the judiciary to discuss the issues of crime and drugs in Britain and America.
Say that first bit again? What?
A hipster interviews...
Hipster. Oh, House of Cards.
No.
Shut up. A hipster.
Yes. And he's a comedian,
He's a comedian.
kind of.
He's not really a comedian. He's a very Borat-ish comedian.
Okay, you just...
Borat-ish comedian. What? Ali G.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
That's over here.
But it was also in Britain.
Yeah, but it's the same show.
No.
It didn't change. No one changed it. I get that point. Thank you very much.
Okay, you get 2 points.
Jessica came
I
up with
messed
these.
up that
I
one.
won 3
with
points.
these 12 finalists and or future. What? What? Okay. Look, 12 finalists compete in a talent competition where they're asked to sing any song that they like on. It's like a star. So this is the
like Pop Idol American.
There
Idol.
you go.
Yeah. You notice I didn't say. Well, X Factor would have been right as well.
X Factor is
Yeah,
right
would've
as
been,
well as America's Got Talent.
Oh wow.
They
They make so much more money here for this stuff.
I know. Okay, this one's taking it back a little. The misadventures of a bad-tempered junk dealer and his frustrated son.
Okay, so what's the American show? What? Go on. Tag you in. Go. What is it? I don't know. Tell me.
Sanford and Son.
So what's the original?
Steptoe and Son.
What, in England?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Wow.
See? Bringing the knowledge on you.
That's terrible.
Last
and good.
one. Here we go.
Wow.
It's an improvisational comedy game
What
show.
was that word?
Don't worry about it. Which features 4 players that act out variations of comedic games. And
whose line is it
sketches.
anyway?
There you go.
But that was an English show first.
Who was the original host of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Aml Ameen. I don't know.
I forget
Wait,
the
what
guy.
was that?
My dad. I'm
Bilal
joking. I don't know who was.
Oh, I thought that was another word.
Wait.
Could be.
No, I forget. It was. See, I'm just.
So
terrible
you
names.
put me on the spot, but you don't
I
know.
am
You
good. I
know.
thought you would know.
Come
I was
on,
asking.
man.
I was asking because I wanted to know.
Okay, so we're going to give you 100% on that, even though I botched up one of those games. My bad.
That's crazy, right? You've actually taught me. I did not know.
Yeah,
so
there's a
many
lot.
shows.
The more you know.
I didn't even know about the Friends one until I started looking it up. So
Wow.
very
Thieves.
cool. And it was like the best show ever out here. So
You know, I started rewatching it like recently, like little bits and bobs.
yeah, I watch reruns. I could watch that show all
Bits
day.
and bobs. See, bobs.
Bits and
adds-
bobs.
Bits and
that's another
bobs.
one.
All right, Amel. So let me just get this straight. We got Chillingtons, a donut, a brov,
Yeah,
wagwan,
that was very good.
and
Dan.
Dan.
Yeah,
What's that mean?
it's like say I spill my drink right now, but you Dan. You know, it's you can just fit
You
the word
like
in.
you idiot.
Yeah, like you douche.
Dan.
Dan.
And what
So
did you say?
just
Bits
take
and
people's
bobs.
names.
Bits and bobs.
Bits and bobs. So I have a
Dan.
full new vocab.
Kings will be kings. That's always good as well. When you do something great and they're like, oh my God, you know, you were great. You're like, kings will be kings.
And
so arrogant.
the next time, yeah,
Kings will be
Kings
kings.
will be
kings will be kings.
But the thing is, we can get away with the humor. You've got to learn the British humor.
That might be weird for me though, because my last name is King, so people are just gonna think I'm talking about my family. Kings will be kings.
Is you not saying kings? Well, you're a king then.
And next time you tweet something, you're gonna write BT Dubs.
Don't do that.
I don't even know what that means. By the
You
way,
will lose followers. You may even lose your verification if you do that. That's how bad.
that means by the way.
Just say Nick Perdue taught me this new word today.
Is it called by? Is that by the
By
way?
the way, yeah.
BT Dubs.
BT Dubs.
Just say by the way. Like,
W, not saying the whole W.
All right, so before we wrap up, we just want to give you a little moment to tell us what's next, some bragging rights. What can we look forward to seeing you in the near future?
Well, next year's Maze Runner. That's coming out in I think September at some time. I'm also in Blackbird which stars Gugu and Bartha Raw, and it's Gina Prince Bythewood's new film. And then I do not know. I want to get onto directing a couple of. I've got films that are in place to be directed, so we'll see.
Great.
see.
Well, I'm sure we'll have some great things lining up very soon, and we will be on the lookout. Thank you so much for joining
It's been
us
fun.
today.
It's been really fun.
We had a really fun time, learned some new words. I feel
cool
like
music happening right now.
my British accent is just going to be amazing soon. No words. He's speechless. Tell us where we can find you on Twitter, online.
Twitter, Aml Ameen, Facebook, Aml Ameen, and yeah, that's it. That's it really.
Where can we find you, Nick?
all over the internet at the Nick Perdue.
And you can find me on Twitter at I am Jessica King. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Dario Christian, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network. If you have questions or comments, tweet us at BHL Online or email us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. For more exclusive content, visit blackhollywoodlive.com. This has been a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.